Hello, my name is Braxton Thornley, and I'm a senior technology trainer here at UEN. Now today I want to talk about how you can use Nearpod to differentiate and personalize learning for your students. In particular, we're going to look at three main things. The first one is Nearpod's new AI features and how you can utilize those to personalize learning for students. The second is the Nearpod library and some of the resources that are available to you in the library to help you differentiate. And then third, we're going to talk a little bit about student-paced links and how those can be used to ensure that you are meeting all students' needs. All right, so you can see that I'm on my home page here inside of Nearpod, and we're actually going to begin today by looking at Nearpod's new AI features. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Generate a Lesson with AI Create. And the reason I want to do that here is because AI is going to allow us to differentiate really quickly for students. So you can see I've dropped in a prompt, and this prompt essentially says that I need some scaffolds for my multilingual learners. I'm also going to select some standards here. So I'm going to go to my dropdown, scroll down, and I'll hit Utah. And then after I do that, I'm going to select my subject. Today we'll look at language arts. And then I'm also going to select a grade level. And then I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and I'm going to select the specific standard that I'm looking for right here and add that in. Next, I'm going to click the Create Lesson button. And once I do that, Nearpod is going to take a minute or two to generate a plan on how it's going to develop this lesson. So you can see the outline appears right here, and I can scroll through that outline and adjust as needed. And additionally, I can also see that Nearpod's not only building in content or slides, but they're also building in interactive activities for me, which is great. And that's one of the things that's going to support my multilingual learners. Now, as I scroll back up, you'll see that on the side, I have the ability to reorder things if I need to, and I can also delete slides if I want. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Lesson from Outline. Now, once I select that, Nearpod's going to take a couple more minutes to generate my lesson, and we'll speed this up a little bit here. But you can see that Nearpod's going to start developing all of that content for me. Now, once that content is all developed, I'm going to go ahead and open up that lesson and start reviewing some of the content that was created by the AI generator here. So I can scroll through all of those slides, check them to make sure they look okay. I can edit them as needed. But once I feel okay about those, then I can go up and click Save and Exit in the top right-hand corner. And then after I've clicked that, it's going to take me back to my Nearpod library, and you'll be able to see that that lesson now appears within my own library here. And if I hover over this lesson, I now have the ability to click my Teach button, and I can generate a student-paced code or link for that lesson. Now, once I've done that, I can take that link and I can give this lesson, and again, remember, these are essentially scaffolds. I can give this lesson to any students who need it, and I was able to develop that really quickly using AI. Now, the next thing that I want to look at here is actually the Nearpod library. So I'm going to open up my menu on the left-hand side, and I'll click Nearpod library right here. Now, the reason I'm opening this up is because the Nearpod library has tons of resources. And today we're going to start filtering by grade. And again, we'll just kind of stick with high school language arts today. But what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to find a resource that I can first off use with my students, but then I'm going to take that resource and duplicate it so that I can edit it for specific groups of students who maybe need extensions or support. For today, we're going to look at this lesson right here. And you can see it says public speaking tips. That's the one that we're going to use. So I'm going to highlight that and click preview. And then as with any content in the Nearpod library, I can scroll through all of the slides, check those out, make sure that everything looks okay. I can edit them if I want to. But for the time being today, I'm going to go ahead and add this to my library. Now again, once I've clicked Add to my library, I'm going to go back to my homepage in Nearpod, and on that homepage, you'll be able to see that this lesson from the Nearpod library now resides right there at the top, and you can see that here. What I really want to do, though, is what I mentioned before, where I want to take this lesson and I want to now duplicate it so that I have two iterations of the same lesson. So I'm going to click on my menu here, click on duplicate. So Nearpod is going to make a copy of this lesson for me. And once that copy is generated, I can go in and I can add some content to it in order to scaffold or extend for my students. I'm going to start by renaming it though, so I can keep track of the two different lessons. And I'm going to call this one EXT for extension. I'm going to build an extension into this lesson. I'm also going to scroll down and I want the extension to go kind of towards the bottom of this lesson. So I'm going to click here, but then I'm going to add a new activity. And as I go in here, I'm looking for an open-ended question. So I'm going to select that and add that activity here. Now, for this question in particular, I want my students to think a little bit more deeply about the rhetoric that they're using when they are speaking publicly. And so I'm going to add in this question about it. And this is kind of the rough draft of my question here, so we might need to revise a little bit. But as you can see, I could take this question now, and I could maybe add more activities or more questions. But whenever I'm ready, I'm going to hit save and exit right here. And then I'm going to go back to the homepage of Nearpod, and we're going to see those two different lessons. And so essentially what I can do with those now is I can take the first one and maybe give it to most of my students, and then I can take the extension lesson and I can give that to the students who maybe need a little bit more, need to be stretched a little bit. And the way I can do that is by generating those student-paced links for my students and giving maybe a link to some students for, let's say, the regular lesson, and then another link to students who need that extension lesson. And in this way, I can differentiate based on student need. All right, now hopefully you have a few ideas on how you can differentiate and personalize learning for your students. We talked about Nearpod's AI features, the Nearpod library, and also how you can leverage those student-paced links to ensure that all students are getting the content that they need when they need it.